Okay, that means I have to shut off my camera then.
Why?
Because he's so handsome.
So
That's right.
the meeting is being recorded. We should mute and turn off camera.
No.
We should turn on the camera so the speaker can see us.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
The first time he met like a lot of people here.
Yeah, it would be nice if I can see a few of you.
But
He
you
try
can,
to find someone he knows.
Okay.
you can read it, right?
I need to get dressed. So I will do that.
And
But
don't forget to put on makeup too.
okay, I'll put my makeup on as well. Yeah. Okay, I'll be back in a minute then. Will be only be 1 minute.
He even not the main speaker.
Hey guys, so whoever else needs to get dressed, get a shirt and then switch on the camera.
Okay.
Are you speaking from experience?
Speaking from experience, yes.
Okay. Okay, we have everybody here. 24 people. Okay, Alex. How is your working from home? Is it good? Can you share with people?
Well, for me, it's been a while. You know, last year I was mostly working from home. No coffee shops open, nothing. So we had a lot of lockdowns last year.
Yeah.
And I'm used to it. I'm used to it. I'm gonna say a little bit during my talk also about that. Why I'm actually interested in that topic. And yeah, it's working well for me.
As you may know, people here in Saigon, Da Nang, and Bangkok as well, we are working from home for, I think it's for 3 months. And so I think that this topic is very, very necessary for us to know how to structure ourselves and how to be productive when working at home. So thank you for, hosting this TED Talk. And so many people here, like, we still not haven't known about Alex. He's a digital consultant of NFQ Asia, and he just joined our company. When do you join the company?
April.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So maybe this is a chance for you to meet our people and engage with NFQ here. Okay, so you can get started.
I can get started.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a second. I'm going to share my screen and then get started. So there.
Another Alex up here.
That's just one. The other one is now.
Okay.
Okay. So yes, I'm Alex. I've been with NFQ for a couple of months now, and so in a nutshell, my job as a digital consultant is checking and figuring out where NFQ can offer services that are not only software development, for example, some consulting. And on top of that, how corporates or larger companies with our services. So those are the two things I'm working on. And for that, I am actually working in projects. So currently I'm PMing the new website we are going to build for this, for the sales and marketing approach. And I'm also working with another team with a client. It's the 𝗧𝗃/Cisco. Okay, if you have any questions throughout, let's use the chat or make yourself visible. I will probably not see all of you all the time, so the chat might be a great option if I don't see that you have a question. Okay, so let's get started. What we're going to talk about is structuring yourself, how to be focused and productive while working from home. And what you see here is the desk of one of our colleagues, and it looks pretty organized, and it's also quite funny. So that's why I decided to take that. And these days people have arranged themselves at home to work from home, and like you can see a few others. I just saw Ben, but don't have any message here about unstable internet. So anyone else?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, great. So these, what you can see now are pictures from actual colleagues as well. I'm not going to tell you who's which, but you can see everybody has their own home office now, and the question now is, you know, how can we adapt to it? And before I dive deeper into this, I would like to ask you a question. What is your biggest challenge now while working from home? So put it in the chat. Tell me, what is the biggest problem, the biggest challenge you're facing while working from home? And I'll try to get to as many of those as possible. Okay, we have YouTube. Yeah, I definitely know that. Distracting. In touch with the colleagues, face-to-face discussions. Bored, okay. Kids, yeah. Only moving around a little. No after work drinks. Yeah, I hear you, Ben. No pantry and noodles. Okay, that seems to be an inside joke. I have no idea what the noodles are about. Distractions, sit for a long time. Okay, so when I look at the chat, I see three main things. One is the interaction with colleagues, so the non-work related interaction. The second is you know, sitting there to be on your desk, and the third one is outside distractions that are either at your desk or around. Lucky you, I'm going to speak about all of the three items. I will have a few hacks for you, and you can, you know, these are, I'm not going to solve all your problems here, but at least that should give you ideas what you can change and what might help you and what you can try. And if you want to have a deeper discussion about something, we can have it afterwards in the Q&A or separately. So why did I spend time with this topic? First of all, as a consultant, I was either in a client's office or I was working from home. You know, it was never worth renting an office for me because I was traveling so much. In 2018, I was in Europe less than 100 days, and the rest I was just everywhere. And I get asked a lot about this topic, especially in the past 18 months. So I thought it would be a good idea to know a little bit about it. And on top of that, I have ADD, which basically means my mind can be like a dog trying to chase squirrels. It's focusing needs extra effort. And I'm the king of procrastination, of course. So what this ADD does is it's really easy to get distracted, and it's really easy to lose focus. So I had to, you know, do for myself, also do a lot of research, how to get better at that. And most of the things I'm going to talk about today is stuff I either have tried or I'm actually using. So just imagine coming to this girl, Ben, that's especially for you. Imagine you're trying to focus on something and a thought comes up and something pops up, a notification, and you're distracted. And that's like, you know, that's like a dog chasing squirrels. If there are 3 squirrels, this dog is looking at all 3 of them, and you have no idea where it's going to go next because the dog doesn't know either. And that's sometimes how it feels when my ADD kicks in. I'm just sitting there and like, oh my God, so many things, what I'm doing, and this and that, and this and that. And that is a situation I have had a lot. So that also taught me, okay, how can I work on my focus and my productivity and work with that, and maybe even use it to my advantage. So today, this is the agenda. It's quite short because I split the whole part in 2 different things. The first one is, how is working from home in your home environment different from working in an office? So here we talk about the location and the context. And the second item I brought is how is, working when you're not around your colleagues, how is that maybe different, and what can you do in the actual process of the work to be productive and be focused. And we're going to have a Q&A, and we're going to have a wrap up. So let's get started. So working from home basically has two components, as I mentioned earlier. The first component is you work in a place that is also your home. And that brings a completely new range of questions and answers with it. So it can be very convenient and it can be very stressful. And the second part, how working from home is getting interesting. If you used to work in an office with your colleagues around you, or your colleagues only distributed in bigger groups like Saigon, Da Nang, Bangkok, then now suddenly you are working distributed fully. So it's not like you can turn around and say, hey, I have a question, can you help me? So this doesn't work anymore. So there's a lot of things happening that are also different. And those are the two components I'm going to look at. The first one is going to be shorter. And the second one, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper. So location, or bed, fridge, oh no. So there's two questions, usually I find. One is, how can I separate work from my free time when everything is in the same place? That is something I already read in the chat. And the second one is, when am I working? When am I free? How do I just manage my time basically between those two things? And I'm going to speak a little bit about both. So what you will see now is a format I'm going to use through the whole talk. I will explain the topic first, and then you will see a slide which 3 or 4 hacks. So if you have questions to the hacks or the slide, feel free to speak up and ask questions right now. So usually we are in a work environment for work, and in a personal environment for free time, with some time in between, the commute. That's a very normal day for most of us. And the commute has the advantage that it actually helps our mind to switch between those two places. So for example, during the commute, we think about, okay, I got this done, oh, now next I need to pick up my children. So your mind shifts slowly from one to another. It's that context switch that happens. And I remember when I had a client that was literally around the corner from where I lived, I was struggling. That was new for me because I left the office and I had to decide immediately if I want to go left to go home, or if I want to go right and go grocery shopping. And that is a decision my mind was not ready to make because I'm still, wrapping up what happened inside. So this is different at home because everything is just one. Another question is, can we find a way to have this context switch at home? Because that is basically what it's about. Can we, let's say, mimic the commute and have this different context in our mind when we're home? And there are a few things that come from different parts of the world and different parts of professions that are used to do that. So I checked out, how do actors do it? Well, actors many actors use a piece of clothing. So if you have it on, then you're in work mode. If you don't have it on, you're not in work mode. I used to do a training for crisis intervention, and we had this role play, and somebody had to play a father whose son just died in a motorcycle accident. That's not something you want to play and take with you. So we made sure that this person changed into that role physically with a hat and a scarf, and then afterwards changed out of it. And so to make sure that what happens inside the role stays inside the role. And that can be also used for working. During wintertime, I have work socks. So when I work from home, I'm wearing these specific woolen socks and when I take them off, I'm not working. So if I'm just confused and distracted from everything, all I need to do is look down and see what kind of socks am I wearing. It sounds stupid, but your brain works like that. A second thing that helps a lot is, if possible, build yourself a work corner that is dedicated to work. Try to avoid the kitchen table where you set up your work in the morning and move it away in the evening. This is very difficult for our mind that works in these kind of context to understand, oh, am I now working or am I not? Also, very simple trick, but works quite well. And perform the same task to get into and out of work, like eating your yogurt or do stretches. So can you find something that you usually do before you leave the house normally, or after you arrive at the office to bring your mind into it or out of it, of course, in the way back. Last year I had an assistant, and we had a longer conversation about her working from home, and she said, I'm just sitting here and I don't have a corner, and so I have to do the lunch table and I feel like I'm just not working. And I asked, okay, what is different? What do you different now than when you go to work? And she said, I'm dressed differently. So I said, okay, why don't you try getting dressed for work a little bit more, so it feels more like work. And the next day she told me that what made the biggest difference for her was putting on a bra. Because when she's at home, she doesn't wear one, but if she's working, she wears one. So putting on a bra for her did the trick. That was as simple, that was everything. So ask yourself, what am I doing usually between home and work? And how is it different from staying at home and on a free day? That is the context. So you can do a few things. Here is the scarf. Oh, there's a picture missing. I forgot that apparently. And on the bottom right, you see a very difficult context. This is a stock photo, so it's no one at NFQ. I can tell you. And this is really hard to work. So you're directly staring at your laundry. So that is distracting you from your work because it's pulling you into the I need to do laundry context. So that also means try to create a view that can keep you focused. I used to sit at my kitchen table before I had a desk at home, and I have this open living room kitchen arrangement. So I was always staring at the kitchen. So whenever there was dirty dishes, I was staring right at them. It was not fun because I didn't have the time to do the dishes, but staring at them distracted me fully. So it's like a museum or like a movie. Just make sure that you look in a direction that helps you. Okay, schedule. It's great to do some laundry while working or quickly clean the floor while you're at home. But does it make your workday longer? Do you get stuck in doing other things and then come back? And of course, watering plants is an amazing way to take a break and think. So some of the things we do at home or can do at home are actually helping us. And oh, there's a knot missing. How do you make sure you don't mix it too much so you never know when your workday is over? How many of you have experienced that you do things, work a little, then do things, then work a little, and at the end it's 9 p.m. and you feel like you haven't done anything in the house and you haven't finished your job? Have you had that before? How does it feel?
Of course I do.
How does it feel?
Yeah, the work days become like extremely longer than it usually be when I was at the office.
Okay, so work days tend to become longer, okay?
Yeah, and also I'm kind of like an ADD person like you do. So it was really easy for me to get distracted before.
Okay, how did you solve it? Have you solved it yet?
Like you just suggested, I have my own working corner right now. With a bit of the investment for that, and also replicate some routine that I usually do at the office, or for example, making coffee.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so making coffee in the morning is a good point. So what can we do about schedules? One thing that helps a lot of people is if you create your own schedule. Just because you stay at home doesn't mean you can't have a work day starting at a specific time and ending at a specific time. Having a schedule helps a lot. And also, if you live with family, you know, it's also, they might be confused because you're sometimes working, then you're making food, then you're working again. So this also helps you with your family, and depending on their age, your kids, also to set boundaries a little bit. Of course, there will always be emergencies and something happens, but in the end, you have a structured workday. So that is a good starting point for many people. And then, of course, don't forget to take breaks. There are some studies that suggest that people working from home tend to make less breaks because you just get lost and then you get distracted and then you get back again and then you feel like you don't deserve a break because you were distracted before. So still take breaks. Every 90 minutes is what the studies say is the best one. And if you do housework during the breaks, set yourself an alarm when the break is over. Otherwise, you know, you get pulled into housework and just get distracted more. So make sure that you take breaks and also make sure that you find a way back from those breaks. Move, very important, move. Run around the house during calls. Yeah, Kalina, I know that problem. Been there, done that. Move around the house, run around during house during calls. Keep the sweets far away so you have to get up to get them. So you can design your environment that the things you want to do are closer and the things that you don't want to do are further away. That also keeps people focused. There was an experiment once that in a cantina of a big company, they removed the Coca-Cola machine from the checkout, moved it into a corner, instead put a big basket with water bottles. And suddenly people were drinking more water. So creating good habits is much more defined by our environment than we think. And it's so much easier to change the environment than to change your own habits or your own, you know, urges or triggers. So make your environment at home also in a way that you do the things you want to do easier. So ask yourself, at what times am I the most productive? Can I create that fits my productivity? And of course, don't forget your family and friends. And of course, check in with your team if they have, you know, if your schedule conflicts with them. Here I also have a few pictures I found, which are really nice. So what's happening at NFQ is the yoga class, which I find super cool. Then I like the note. I had a similar note on my fridge, but this is better, easier to read. You're not hungry, you're bored, shut the damn door. So, you know, you can help yourself, bring you back to the right path. It's a little bit like meditation. You know, what you train is to bring your attention back to yourself, to your breathing. And here it's similar, you bring your attention back to what you want. And the bottom right corner, like what I mentioned, friends and family. Wait a second. That's my niece. So sometimes she wants to work with me. And of course, that doesn't really feel productive in that moment, but it's definitely fun for both of us. So we do that. So, okay, now we have a nice place and we know how to move in and out of work daily using a schedule. But what about actually getting stuff done? You know, the title said focus on productivity and a squirrel. So the squirrel, I already mentioned it. It's going to show up again, don't worry. Distributed work. So usually most of us have colleagues around during work. And a work environment makes focus easier. And everyone around us working also usually makes people more productive. That is true for a lot of people. Some people can put on headphones, focus, and they don't need anything around them. Many of us actually benefit from being in a working environment. And when you're home alone and you cannot even meet with someone else to co-work at the same table, then of course, those two things, focus and productivity, are not easy. So one thing that happens a lot and always gets underestimated, that's why I mentioned it first, is the so-called implicit communication. So what does it mean? It basically means that when you're in an office and you have a company culture that is office-based, a lot of communication and even work happens without you realizing it. It happens next to the coffee maker. It happens next to on the smoke break. And it happens on the lunch break. You know, you have a lot of moments where you interact with your colleagues and discuss something, anything. And you feel like, I know less now. I feel so remote. I feel so far away socially and work-wise. And one of the main reasons for this is those micro interactions, those little conversations. So like, hey, good morning. Please don't forget this. You know, that alone synchronizes two people. One knows, okay, he or she is here, and the other person knows, oh yeah, right, I shouldn't forget this. This is simple interaction you don't really have when you work completely remotely, and that is missing sometimes. So what can we do? I listed just 3 things here. A few of them sound familiar. Schedule lunches together. I remember there was some lunches, my breakfast, your lunches, where it works remotely. Flickering. What is flickering?
Yeah, your presentation is flickering. I'm not sure why though. It's if anyone has epilepsy, they're gonna have a stroke.
Yeah, me too. It's like interlace. It's like converting interlaced to progressive. That's a bit technical. But it's like that kind of weird flickering you get on some older monitors. So somehow, but anyway, it's working. Okay. Probably nothing we can do about it.
What I can do about it is I can turn off the overlay myself, and then it doesn't flicker anymore. Let me try. So let me know how that works.
Yeah,
It's working now. It's not flickering.
Yeah,
That's
it's
great.
better.
but I cannot see you in the corner.
Yeah, sorry. We have to choose between flickering in my face. I think flickering no epilepsy is better than seeing my face. But I can come back here.
Okay.
Okay, so you can schedule lunches together. It works remotely as well. From my experience, use smaller groups. If there are 20 people in there, then it's harder to have this casual lunch conversation than if it's just 3 or 4. So try to, use breakout rooms or have separate groups. A startup I worked with established a Slack channel that just had the name #lunch. So when somebody wants to start lunch, they just posted a Zoom link and say, hey, I'm having lunch. Anybody want to join? So you don't need to organize a lot for this. If it's easy, then it's also easy to join, and it doesn't take a lot of preparation. Important as well, start and end meetings with chit chat and plan your meetings accordingly. So try to avoid back-to-back meetings, because that is really hard to finish up. And the first thing that drops out is the chit chat. But that is, when you work remotely, one of the most important things, because that keeps you updated about the people, what they're working on, how they feel, how you can help them, besides just the tasks and the topic from the meetings. What I just mentioned, have low threshold Slack channels for chit chat and coffee talk. One startup I worked with, they had a coffee chat in the morning. So between 9 and 9:30, that was an open Zoom call. Everybody could join, and just, that was the conversation in the pantry next to the coffee maker. So people came in just for 5 minutes and say, hey, good morning, how is everyone? And then they left again. So that helped mimic this kind of pantry feeling. So that helped a lot. You can try it. You can also do Zoom smoke breaks. One of the people I see on my screen here regularly takes me on a smoke break. Hi, Uwe. So we just have a quick chat for 5 minutes while he's on a smoke break. And I think that's really great because I know a little bit about more what he's up to. He knows a little bit more about what I'm up to, and that already gave us some opportunity to use each other's work for our own work, and that was quite helpful. So ask yourself, how and when do I have helpful conversations with colleagues throughout the day in the office? One more thing I didn't put on the hack here, what I also tried for the past couple of months is virtual co-working. So that is a Zoom call that is open. Everybody is muted. If possible, keep the camera on so you just don't feel alone while working. As long as you're not in another meeting, of course. And that is quite interesting. That can be combined with other methods. So if some of you want to try that, I'd be happy to host the first 1 or 2, and then we can, move on to self-organized. But that actually helps also keep the connection. So when you take a break every hour and have a quick chit chat, and then you can go back to work, that kind of helps a little bit mimic this office scenario. Okay. In the end, we are working on tasks. I keep it general, it's task work. So, sorry. In the end, we want to work on stuff, and we want to get that stuff done. And studies show that working from home makes it more challenging to pick and focus on tasks, and as a result, feel accomplished at the end of the day. Because in the morning, you have to decide by yourself what you want to work on first. And sometimes it's harder than in the office, because in the office, you have a quick chat with someone, the implicit communication, and then, oh, let's start with this and meet in 2 hours. This kind of interaction is harder. And of course, procrastination is an issue. And on top of that, we are all really, really good at starting tasks, but finishing them is significantly harder. So I remember I saw one Jira board, there were 85, give me a second, Uwe. I saw 85 things in development. And that's like, how can you have, as a team of 4, 85 things in development? I don't even remember what those things are. So how can you actually actively work on them? So Uwe, procrastination means you are avoiding the things you have to do by keeping yourself busy. That could be watching YouTube. Cat videos are very popular. And the reasons for procrastinating can be many. So sometimes it's you're scared of the task, or it's too big, or you don't know enough about it. So reasons can be multifold. So how can we better organize task work? Does this look familiar to anyone? In the morning you say, I'm going to finish this today, and then life happens, and in the evening you say, I didn't even touch it. What happened? The day is over. And that's the thing, that's the thing that is really hard. So not only is it finish the report is a very vague goal, and then on top, other things happen. So the other things happen I'm going to talk about in a minute, but the question now is how can I make sure that I have good tasks and that I finish them, even if there's no distraction? What I've been working with and like it a lot is when you have a goal for the day. So in the morning, you just tell yourself, this day is a success when. And the stuff you finish the sentence, that's your goal for the day. And you can even create accountability. So for the last 2 years, I had a call at 8 a.m. every single workday with a friend of mine, and we tell each other what makes our day a success. And on the next day, we discuss openly if we've reached that. And if not, we have to find out why and how we can become better either at setting goals or reaching them. And we've been doing this for 2 years, and it's great. It's really amazing for me. So if one of the reasons why the task thing, if the task thing is hard for you, you can create accountability. And yes, Kalina, it is a mixture of the principles of mastermind groups, the daily stand-up, and normal team accountability. This also works if you're working on completely different things, and that might actually be better because, so my friend, he's an online marketing guy. He works on completely different things, but he asks me tough questions. He actually asks me stuff he does not know. Yeah. So what keeps you from it? Why is this so hard? It sounds so easy. These kind of questions you want. If you work in the same team, then those things are implied sometimes. So that's how it's different. Also, what also helps is limit your work in progress. If I have 3 items to work on, I'm going to finish one before taking on something new. So 3 is just a number. Find your own limit of work in progress. Otherwise, you spend more time arranging all the different things and being busy switching between them than actually getting something done. Create and cut tasks to a manageable size and make them smart. Aim for results and not for being busy. I know it always looks good when people are super busy, but actually what we want are results. So, you know what they say, work smart, not hard. If you create good tasks that are smart, then it's so much easier to focus on the result. You can even reuse the sentence from above that says this day is a success when. You can reuse it as this task is done when. That's a very simple way to establish these SMART goals for a task. A few of you have seen that already because I'm using this in the website Jira. So usually, what's the question is, what usually keeps you from clear daily goals and reaching them? And if you ask yourself those questions, don't be satisfied with the first answer. I would suggest you talk to my niece because she's really good at asking why questions. So ask yourself, okay, why is that? Why is that? Ask that multiple times and see where you end up. Be honest with yourself. Because if you hear the first answer, that's usually a symptom, but not the underlying cause. So context switching. I just mentioned this. So our digital tools are designed to interrupt. Notifications are everywhere. And our work culture also rewards responsiveness because being available and always being there is a plus, considered a plus. So, you know, that reinforces that whole interruptions and distractions are everywhere. And so what can we do about this? You know, this back and forth. And let's play a game about this. So for this game, you're going to need a stopwatch, your phone probably, and you're going to need to unmute yourself, everybody. So pick up your phone. So imagine this. Yay, stopwatch, I see one. Your boss comes to you with 2 new high priority projects. Both are important and both need your immediate attention. And of course, they need to be done as soon as possible. You don't have a set deadline, but you'll need to show consistent progress and get them across the finishing line as quickly as possible. So just a normal day at NFQ or any company, actually. So now imagine the 2 projects are, the first project is to list the letters of the alphabet. And the second project is to count from 1 to 26. And of course, you know, fast and intense. So your task is now complete both projects one at a time. Read the numbers and letters out loud accurately and as quickly as possible. Use a stopwatch to time yourself. How long did you take for the first task and how long did you take for both? And to make things a little bit easier, I can come with this so you don't have to think about what the next number is. And once you're done, please write your times in the chat. So it could be, for example, 10:26. So 10 seconds for the letters and 26 for everything in total. So we need a lap time and an end time. Any questions?
But why we need to unmute ourselves? Because I didn't.
Because it's so much fun to listen.
Okay, but it will be even more disturbing if we hear other people counting or speaking the alphabet.
Is that different in an office? Is that different during work?
Okay.
Can I just do?
I
Can
see
I
that
just
you
do?
set up this test environment.
Okay,
before.
unmute yourself, take your stopwatches, and then what you do is A, B, C, da, 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 da. And then once you're done with that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you measure how long it takes you to get from A to Z, and then how long it takes you to also do the rest. So those two numbers we need. Ready?
Okay.
I don't see a lot of unmutes. Unmute yourself. Okay, ready? Stopwatches ready?
Yeah.
Go.
A, B, C, D, F, G, H, K, L.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20,
19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 26. I did quite well, I think. Maybe I did it too quickly.
Okay, so please share the number of seconds in the chat. Okay, Qua 10, 19. Pan had 20 in total. 10, 25. Okay.
I think mine was too quick.
Okay, please remember your own time, but you can see everybody's having roughly the same times. We are around and about, whoa, that's kind of very specific. We're around about 10 seconds and we're around about 20 plus minus 5 for the overall. Okay. Let's do round 2. Now your boss shows up and says, we need progress in both projects. So you have to do them at the same time. Complete both projects in parallel, 1 letter, 1 number, 1 letter, 1 number. Again, out loud, accurately, and as quickly as possible. Now, we just need a time for everything. Again, I have the thing here. So here is like A1, B2, C3, D4, and so on and so on. It's basically the same project. So let's just split it up and do both at the same time. Should be no problem, right? Okay, ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go.
A1, B1, oh no. A1, B2, C3, D4, E5, F6, G8, H9, I10, J11, K12, L13, L14, L15, L16, P17, Q18, R19, S20, T21, U22, V23, W24, X25, Z26. I got better as we progressed.
I didn't finish.
It's so hard.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So hard.
33 seconds. Okay. So it's different from before. Why? Just talk. You leave yourself unmuted. Let's just talk.
Can we make us switch from the first project to the second project and get back to the first project and the second project? If we forget what we have done from the first project and what we have done from the second project. So it's make the time will take longer.
Yeah, it's the context switch. So this is what happens when we do knowledge work. We switch, we have to think, and this was a very easy think. It was the alphabet and the numbers. I think all of us were doing more complex work than this, and we're jumping in between. So these are not from this, but from a different game. So they had 15 seconds for if you do both afterwards, and they had 35 seconds doing them in parallel, which means that if you do them at the same time, you take double the time in this case, or in your case, you could even have another round. You know, if it takes you 16 seconds, I saw someone with 16 in the first time, you can do it twice in the same time as somebody else who does it at parallel. So what does it mean?
We should not be multitasking, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So multitasking is toxic when you do knowledge work. So context switching we can't avoid it. You know, we can say, hey, for the next 2 years, I'm only working on this, because we also need to eat, breathe, sleep, cook, and other things. But what helps in a work environment, create time blocks for different tasks. Don't switch all the time. And try to focus on one thing as long as possible. And turn off those damn notifications if they don't relate to your task. Be fully where you want or need to be. So when I go to a meeting, I minimize Slack. Whatever happens in Slack can wait until after the meeting. So do you really need to see and react to everything instantly? And of course, for that is also important to communicate of unavailability. One thing you can do is connect your Google Calendar to Slack. So it shows always that nice little calendar next to your name when you're in a meeting that's in your Google Calendar. And what helps me is I use a marker to tell me where my head is or should be. That's the picture next to it. So this was when I was preparing this talk. I had a sticky note on my screen that says Content TED Talk. And whenever I got distracted, I just needed to look at that sticky note and like, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing right now. So if you get pulled out of your time block, this helps you also get back in. So this whole thing is, you know, many things are an exercise of having an anchor to focus you and to pull you back where you want to be. Okay, time blocks. Oh, there's a point missing. Anyway, time blocks. I mentioned it in the last time. If you're working on multiple things at the same time, you face distraction. Multitasking is really cruel. It's such a waste, and it's awful because the results usually are also worse. How many of you did get lost or distracted or weren't sure where they are during the exercise? Many probably. So having time blocks for something and stay on it as long as possible helps. So let's take a look at what we can hack for time blocks. Try to integrate your project into your schedule. If it's possible at all, you can say in the mornings, I spend my time with project A, in the afternoon, it's B. If it's possible. That works for some, doesn't work for everyone. And of course, synchronize that with your colleagues if you work in a team. Something I personally find magic is the Pomodoro Technique. Who has heard of the Pomodoro Technique before? Hands up. Okay, a few. So it basically, it was invented by an Italian, of course, that's why it's called Pomodoro. And he had this kitchen clock, similar to the one you see. And what he did is he said, I'm going to time myself for 25 minutes. I focus on something for 25 minutes, and then I take a 5-minute break. And then I do the next Pomodoro of 25 minutes, and then I take a 5-minute break. And every 3 or 4 of those Pomodoros, he took a 30-minute break. The guy is called 𝗬𝗪𝗪 Cirillo, and he actually is my neighbor in Berlin, by the way. So we spent a lot of time discussing this technique, and we talked about the science behind it. What it basically does is if you only have 25 minutes, you pick something that's small enough. And when you see the clock ticking, most of us help, you know, when you get distracted, the clicking clock reminds you, hey, to stay on focus. So that is also really nice when you pick something. So for example, I'm really good at procrastinating while doing the dishes. So I sometimes set Pomodoros for doing the dishes. So I know after 20 minutes, I'm done. And so that, you know, that minimizes the chance of something dragging on and on and on. And also, if you set time boxes for something, make sure if the time box ends, you honor that, because otherwise you're stealing something from your next time box. And then, of course, you don't have the time for the next task, and then you're stealing time from the next one, and that's a vicious circle. So that's how you know things get delayed. So these are 3 things I would recommend you to try. The first one is try to put your different things, your time blocks into your schedule. Most freelancers I know have a bookkeeping and invoicing day Friday in the morning. Every Friday in the morning they spend an hour for bookkeeping and invoicing, so they're never late with their bookkeeping and always get paid. And try the Pomodoro, and you know, make sure that you honor those time boxes. If it's too small, then you can learn something from that. What do I need to change? Was it really too small, or wasn't I aware of the size of the task? You know, you can learn a lot from that. I could go on about this whole time boxing and time block thing, but maybe that's another occasion. So what is taking up most time in your daily work? What do you spend the most time with?
meetings, communication, making sure that everyone understands in the team what I just said. So
Okay.
I would say communication.
I was guessing right. Meetings. I used to run workshops about effective meetings. It sounds easy because, you know, let's just meet and discuss it and then be done. But I think meetings have a high potential for being much more productive. And it's so easy to schedule them back to back. And meetings rarely schedule work, they schedule interruptions from work. Most meetings actually, you know, you don't get anything done in the meeting, you just create more work or interrupt work. And how often do you leave a meeting and think about, oh, what did we actually achieve? So a few hacks for meetings. Every meeting should have a goal and agenda. The agenda should be known in advance. A moderator, if you have more than 3 people in it, and the right participants and as few people as possible. That's a very simple advice for setting up a meeting. And the right participants is so much easier to determine if the agenda is known, because if you have no idea what the agenda is about, you can just stay away. You can say, hey, I think I'm not needed for this. So also, I try to get myself out of it as many meetings as possible, because I don't go there just to look clueless. I have other things to do. End on time, don't cannibalize a meeting. So make sure you have enough time at the end for wrapping up, repeating the agreements reached, and confirm action items. So usually in a 1-hour meeting, after 45 minutes, I say, hey, let's wrap up and see what we have here, and then we can still go on, but otherwise we don't have a result. I used to train paramedics, like emergency medical people, and one of the things I told them, don't do anything that doesn't have a consequence. You know, don't just do anything with your patient that does not change the way you proceed. And that's also what I like to do with meetings. Don't have a meeting where at the end you do exactly the same thing as before. So meetings should help you, or should give you insights or make decisions or whatever. Take notes. It's very frustrating to talk about the same topic over and over again because nobody remembers what or why you decided. And be present. So be there or not be there. Consider different kind of meetings, decision-making meetings, lead them wisely if you lead them. So I could go on, but not today. Focus time. We all want to work focused, and focus time is something that came up a while ago when people and companies started wearing headphones. So they had the headphone policy. If I wear headphones, leave me alone. Or if my door is open, you can come in. If it's closed, leave me alone. And some people started to work at night or in the weekend just so they can actually work in peace and quiet. 3 hacks. Block your time and calendar for focus work. Don't just schedule the interruptions, also schedule when you really want to focus. And of course, try to pick times where you can work the best. Agree on a signal for being busy with your colleagues. Even if you don't use the blocker in the calendar, use it for yourself and accept it from others. You could update your Slack status or anything. The thing is, how can I signal everyone else that I want to work focused now, and how can I make sure that before I talk to someone that I don't interrupt them. You can combine focus with a lot of other hacks from here. So the Pomodoro, for example, 25-minute focus block or other things. So ask yourself, what do I need to work focused? How can I create that for myself and align with my colleagues about it? Okay, last one. Tea, coffee, Red Bull. Sometimes we get sleepy during work. Having coffee or even more coffee, or another one, is a common solution for that situation. And get some natural light. When you work from home an extended period of time, we lack natural light exposure, and that makes us sleepy. So it's vitamin D. Usually Europe has a bigger problem with that than Vietnam, because you have so much more sunlight. But in the end, if you're staying at home for an extended period of time, make sure you get sunlight exposure. Even when you're in the shade, so you don't have to get tanned, just when you're in the shade, but exposed to sunlight in a way, make sure that this happens, because you will get sleepy. manage your energy instead of using coffee just to empty your reservoir, because what coffee does, it makes you function longer, but you're using up your backup energy. So that doesn't work forever. And take a break. You know, change your schedule to match your energy level. Listen to your body as well. We are not robots. So what can I do to keep myself out of emergency mode? There is a thing that is too much energy. So you cannot, you know, just keep yourself up and keep going. So also make sure that what you're doing also matches. And that was the content. So my question for you now is, after I bombarded you with all of this, what's the one thing you want to try tomorrow? Is there something in there? There was anything useful at all?
Yes, I want to try to synchronize my Google Gmail calendar with Slack, that it will show if I'm like in the meeting. I didn't know that this option exists, and that would be like super useful. And I will also try to set up like a Slack status if I need like a focus work.
Okay, great. Anyone else? You can text, you can unmute yourself.
I'll probably start actually bothering to get fully dressed, which I don't, which is why my camera wasn't switched on straight away, because I had no top on. So I might actually try wearing something.
It helps you, you know, it's always what gets you in the work mode.
Sure, yeah. So I'll try that, see how it goes.
Nice.
Anyone else? That's the same for me. I think I will also try that, also to separate working time from not working time. So when I work, I will wear a shirt. And when I do something else, I will just take it off. And I think that's something very easy to try.
No tank top anymore. Wait.
You know me in my tank top, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I will. Yeah. I will try to time spot.
Yeah, I will. Them in German? Those tank tops?
I will try to time spot my tasks, like you mentioned, like 25 or 30 minutes for every task, and then try to finish in that time box and moving to the next one. Not stealing the time from the another task to one task to another task.
Okay, great. Okay, so whatever you change, try to change one thing at a time. You know, you can try something new for 2-3 days, and if it works well, you can add something else. If it doesn't work, you can pick something else. But don't try to change 10 things at the same time, because then you never know which one worked and which is actually getting in the way. Okay. So remember, we are all humans who have days where we are more focused and days where we just can't. Everybody is doing their best. We're not robots. Don't over-optimize. We're not machines. And especially when you're in lockdown, there are days where you feel like, I don't have any energy for anything today. I think it's okay. It's totally okay to have those days, and let your colleagues know. And I'm sure all of us will understand if somebody else says, hey, can we do this tomorrow? I can't do this today because I am just not fully functional today. And I think that is also an important part about being focused and productive, that if you cannot be focused and productive, use the time to rest up so you can actually come back with full energy. Otherwise, you're just gonna drag yourself out. That's it.
Right. Thanks a lot for sharing, Alex.
Yeah,
so very useful tips and very structured.
Yeah, so that was thank you very much. That was an overview. I could go deeper. So if you have now any questions or want to know something more specific, I'm here. I have more time. So if we want to extend this call, I hope Yuan doesn't kill me if I say that. We can also stay on. I'm here to do the what is it called, casual networking afterwards after talks. So if there are any questions, let me know. I'm here.
Yeah, I have one question, Alex. Will you share a wrap up of that presentation with us?
I think I wouldn't mind to share the presentation.
Great, perfect. Yeah.
I'm not sure where to put it, but I will share the presentation.
Right. That's really nice. And what I could imagine at some point in the presentation, you said you could go more in detail, right? And I think this could be really interesting to have some further sessions to dive deeper into some of the aspects like time managing and things.
Yeah, totally agree with you always. yeah, we see some presentation which we continue go into deep dive into that topic. So yeah, would like to have you to organize some further presentation, further tech talk about those topics. Really helpful.
All right. Yeah, sure. Meetings are very, very easy and thankful subject, by the way.
Yeah, just consider this one as an agenda for a lot of upcoming topics from yours.
Oh, okay. So I don't want to be the one talking all the time, though. So I'm pretty sure there are other interesting topics for the TED Talk as well. But of course, yeah, we can do sessions. We can also do smaller sessions, like maybe a lunch session, for example, to have a casual lunch session about sharing something. Or, and you know, I think the community team is in charge here, so we can talk.
Yeah, there's a lot of available slots for you.
So I created more work with that presentation, I see. Any other questions?
I have a question, Alex. So first of all, really thank you, for your effort to prepare this presentation. It was really insightful. Some of the techniques I use in my daily work, because otherwise I think I wouldn't be able to complete any of my tasks when working remotely. And I'm curious, do you think that you personally, like, you work super efficient at home, or you still prefer to work in the office?
I still prefer to work in a work environment. It doesn't have to be in my office or an office. So for example, in Berlin a couple of years ago, I always used to go to a coffee shop to work. So I knew when I go to this coffee shop, that's my workplace. So this context switch here, it's too small, because if I reach out here and bend it over a little bit, I can touch my bed. So it's really small here. And that context switch is hard, even though I have a specific table for work. And that also, for me, it also works in other environments. When I stayed on an island in Thailand, there was this let's say restaurant by the beach. I had one table where I always sat to work, and when I was done with working, I moved to a different table because I was done with working. So those simple things do it for me, but I need this spatial shift. I need to move actually from it. So when I stop working here, I always take a walk around the block before I'm out of work.
Okay.
Yeah. Quite a few times, Isa called me and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm just saying, "I'm taking a walk around the block," because that's when I was getting off work, basically. Or I go shopping, grocery shopping. I need to move to bridge that gap. I found that out for me.
I think we need to have like some transition, like when we finish the work, we close computer, right? Even if we actually sometimes don't finish work really, because me personally, even if I close computer, I still get notifications on my mobile. And this is what I'm trying to work on with myself, to put some barrier on my working day, because otherwise I'm constantly like stimulated with the notifications, with this, need to respond immediately, even if it can be done, on the next working day. So what I'm trying to do, I'm just trying to close the computer, close all the communicators at some point, and also close all the communicators on the mobile, and start to enter like a normal life. I didn't have any like specific activity like you going around the block, but maybe I should think about it, like even, I don't know, changing the room or anything else.
Maybe you can leave the room, do something else, and when you come back, let's say it's your living room, you leave the living room, then you leave work, then you do something else in the kitchen, and then half an hour later you come back to the living room, and in your mind it's the living room now. So that also can work. Doesn't work for me, but it can work. Yeah.
And Kalina, I think it's really important because I know the situation when the computer is switched off, but you still get all the notifications on your phone, right? That we can let it go, especially in the evening, and relax. I know for Slack, for example, you can schedule a timeout for the notifications, so that you say from 7 in the evening, no notifications are coming anymore. And that's, for example, what I did, and I think you can do that also with other apps. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I will have to look into this.
Yeah, and
when I started in FQ, I always felt guilty when I woke up because you guys were 5 hours ahead, and I felt like I had to catch up. And you know, I started the day with pressure, and then it took me a while to actually realize that. And then I said, no, it's not pressure. I'm working when you are done. You know, it's only 2 p.m. almost for me. So for you, it's the end of the day. So I think it also took me a while with these different time zones to realize that my day just did not get just 5 hours longer because I have to cover my and your time zone. And on top of that, what I use on my phone and my laptop and my tablet is an app called Freedom. You can create lists and schedules. So from 10 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., all my messengers are blocked, including WhatsApp and everything. And in YouTube and Facebook and everything, so I don't end up scrolling at night, and I don't wake up and get lost and distracted and procrastinate with, I don't know, WhatsApp instead of getting up.
Excuse me, what is the name of the app again?
Wait, let me type it.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah. It has a butterfly as a logo, so it's easy to find. Freedom.io, I think.
Thank you.
That works really well for me. And you can always say start one now for 2 hours. So I combine that with Pomodoros. So say start a Freedom session now for 45 minutes, and then I have 45 minutes without anyone texting me on Slack or no WhatsApp messages and no
Downloading
pictures and whatnot. Sorry?
I'm downloading. I think it's a really great app.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
So fast.
Okay, so I think we can wrap up here. You know where to find me in Slack. I'm always happy to help. And if I don't respond immediately, I might just be in a focus session, or in a call, or getting lunch.
Okay. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Alex.
thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Alex. Very interesting.
Let me know how it goes.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.